So today we are going to introduce Dalit literature. So before starting this presentation, let me tell you one thing, that what is Dalit or who are the Dalits? Okay, so you know that Dalit is a designation for a group of people who are traditionally regarded as untouchable, right? So this is a part of our caste system, and we know that in our caste system few people were regarded as untouchable because of their lower caste. So these people turned to Dalit community. So the word Dalit comes from the root dal, and the meaning of that term is broken, ground down, downtrodden, or even they are called as oppressed. And according to Vidyasagar, we see that the term expresses these people weakness, poverty, and humiliation at the hands of the upper castes in the Indian society. So now, who are the Dalits by caste? The Dalits, called by different names like Deshu, Dasha, Utishudro, Panchama, Tirukalatar, Adi Karnataka, Adi Dravida, are actually the biggest classes of Indian society. And according to the Indian constitution, the Dalits are the people coming under the category called scheduled castes. So now we will discuss about the origin of the Dalits. As I told you in my first slide, that previously they were acknowledged as untouchable, but they denied the term untouchable and they have chosen their identity as Dalit. So this is a self-chosen identity that is called Dalit, who were regarded as untouchables. So Varna literally means Kala, and Chaturvarna signify 4 gradations comprised of Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras, arranged in a hierarchical order. According to the Rig Veda, the Brahmins were born from the mouth of Brahma, the Kshatriyas came from the shoulders of Brahma, the Vaishyas from the thighs of Brahma, and the Shudras from the feet of Brahma. So what we see, that the lower caste, the Shudras, it is believed that they have taken their birth from the feet of Brahma. So they are traditionally regarded as the lowest part of the caste system. So this is how we see the Dalits come into our society. So since they are the lower caste, so the upper 3 castes, the Brahmins, the Kshatriyas, and the Vaishyas, they inflicted several types of oppression and torture on the Dalits. So we see here the so-called high castes, the Brahmins, gave food to the beasts, but not to the Dalits. For in their own caste-ridden society, Dalits were regarded as so vile that it was held that even the shadows could not fall on a person of a higher caste, and that was considered as sin. Dalits were often not allowed to engage in cultural and social activities with their family. In the sense, they were regarded as untouchable. They were not allowed to sit in the main spaces of the village, to take part in religious programs, and to eat with the rest of the community during village ceremonies. They were deprived of ownership, rights to land, property, and forced to eat the foulest food, including the leftovers thrown away by the higher Varnas. So these are the real pictures. They were also not allowed to draw water from the common well. They had to wait. They had to wait for the upper caste people to come, and so that they can pour some water into their pitcher. Dalits were forced to succumb to the system of ritualized temple prostitution, literally forced to become prostitutes for upper caste patrons and village priests. They were barred from the right to education and knowledge. And in schools, Dalit children were often forced to sit separately and were the only ones asked to clean the latrines. And they were also prohibited from entering temples. So, which are described here right now. All these things are already described whenever we studied the Jutan. You have seen all of these things, which Om Prakash Valmiki has described in his book. So, ill effects of casteism. What we see? Landholding upper caste people in villages do not allow, and this is the opinion of a Dalit critic named Bhagavan Das. He wrote this, that landholding upper caste people in villages do not allow the Dalits to wear decent clothes, cast votes freely, ride on a horse in a marriage procession, draw water from a public well, sit on a cot while the upper caste man is standing. In cities, a student belonging to scheduled caste is purposely given low marks. An officer is prejudged as incompetent and inefficient just because of his birth in an untouchable caste. A professor, a lawyer, a doctor, an architect born in an untouchable family is considered inefficient and inferior without even seeing his performance. So these are the real scenarios. A patient refuses to be treated by a scheduled caste doctor, and house owner refuses to let a vacant house to him for the fear of pollution. A superior gives bad reports to a Dalit subordinate in order to obstruct his promotion. Just a minute, people are waiting. A patient refuses to be treated by a scheduled caste doctor, and a house owner refuses to let a vacant house to him for the fear of pollution. A superior gives bad reports to a Dalit subordinate in order to obstruct his promotion. In everyday talk, in the canteens, buses, trains, and airplanes, offices and establishments, aspersions are cast on the men and women of untouchable origin, and derogatory remarks are passed. Universities and colleges, abusing the power and authority given to autonomous bodies, close the doors of progress to students. Teachers and employees, to protect merit, may turn with fake certificates. Unfair practices in examination, nepotism, and corruption. So this is the opinion of Bhagavan Das, and he has perfectly summed up all the things of the society. And these are done only because of that caste system, casteism. Don't scratch on the screen. Okay, few of you are scratching on the screen. So, since we have discussed about the ill effects, the oppression which are being inflicted, so therefore we see the resistance. Whenever there is oppression, there should have resistance. So what do we see? That it was in protest against such unequal practices in society, Dalits began to react with the help of their own literatures and by forming organizations like the Dalit Panthers. It is the idea of equality which sparkled the beginning of the Dalit movement in India. So what do we see? That when these things were being continued in the society, so people were there who went against the system and tried to resist the system. So they tried to organize their movement, and such movement is considered as Dalit movement. And Dalit Panthers were also there. As a conscious outburst against the age-old atrocities committed against them, the Dalit movement is a struggle that tries to launch a counterattack against the socio-cultural hegemony of the upper castes. It is a movement of the masses that craves for justice through speeches, literary works, drama, songs, the activities of cultural organizations, and all the possible means. Hence, the Dalit movement may be called as a movement which is led by Dalits with the purpose of seeking equality with all other castes in Hindu society. So, what do we see? That whenever they are getting oppressed, so these people try to resist back, and they were trying to fight back. How? With the help of their speeches, their literary works, their dramas, their songs, their cultural organizations, and all other possible means. So now, since we know that they were trying to resist the system, so they took the help of their own literature, and that is called Dalit literature. So what is Dalit literature? The protest of the Dalits against the establishment gained its very first expression in Dalit literature. So forming their own literature, they were trying to resist. They are trying to fight back. The term Dalit literature bears its original trace to the first Dalit literary conference in 1958. And in 1972, we see that few Dalit young Dalit Marathi writer activists, they formed a group, an organization that was named as Dalit Panthers. And these young Marathi writer activists were Namdev Dhashal, Raja Dhale, and Arun Kamble. Sharan Kumar Limbale, you know his name probably because he is one of the most eminent Dalit critics in recent India. And in his book, Towards an Aesthetic of Dalit Literature, he wrote that Dalit literature is precisely that literature which artistically portrays the sorrows, tribulations, slavery, degradation, ridicule, and poverty endured by Dalits. This literature is but a lofty image of grief. So these are the Dalit literateurs. The most prominent Dalit literateurs are Narayan Sarve, Namdev Dhashal, Baburao Bagul, Laxman Mane, Daya Pawa, Arun Kamble, Sharan Kumar Limbale, Arun Dangle, Laxman Gaikwad. So these are the people, and later I have already mentioned a few of the Dalit writers from Bengal, Manju Bala, Baby Halda, Raju Das, you know them, Manoranjan Bapari. So Dalit writers, they try to create their own works, and they try to present their own pathetic conditions with the help of their poems, essays, novels, autobiographical novels, short stories, and plays. And now I want to focus on a particular issue, and that's why I have created this particular slide, that is literature by non-Dalits about the Dalits. You know that since Sharan Kumar Limbale, are you getting me? Hello? Am I audible to you? Hello?
Thank you.
Hello?
ডিজাইনটা খুলে একটু দেখা, একটু কাছে গিয়ে দেখা ডিজাইনটা।
Keep quiet. Keep quiet. My internet connection got disconnected. Okay. Okay.
স্যার কই?
এই তো স্যার।
Okay, wait. Stop talking. So what is that? You know that few literateurs were also there who were trying to project the derogatory conditions of the Dalits with the help of their writings. So these are the most eminent writers who were trying to project the condition of the Dalits, though they were not Dalit by birth. Who were they? Mool Prajanand, Premchand, Mahashata Devi, Gail Ambed, Arundhati Roy, Shara Joseph, Kumaran Asam. So these are the people. But though we know that these people were trying to show the condition of the Dalits, but these people were not accepted as Dalit literateurs. Why? Since we know that Dalit literateurs, they claim that unless you have taken your birth into that community, that Dalit community, it's not possible to get the exact pain of the Dalit community. So there comes the conflict. How? That according to Dalit writers, Dalit literature is experience based. This anubhava, that is experience, takes precedence over anumana, that is speculation. That is why authenticity and liveliness have become hallmarks of Dalit literature. Shame, anger, sorrow, and indomitable hope are the staff of Dalit literature. The writers of Dalit literature who are by birth Dalit argue that it is not possible for the upper caste writers to properly delineate the condition of the Dalits, as Dalit literature is experience-based. Non-Dalit writers' presentation of Dalit lives are governed by sympathetic attitude. So this is the major issue. In one hand, these people are there who were trying to show up the condition of the Dalits, but they are not Dalit by birth. So they are rejected as a part of Dalit literature because the Dalit writers who have taken their birth in the Dalit community, they are claiming that since it is experience based, so there is no room for other writers. These are the arguments that Om Prakash Valmiki rules out the possibility of a Dalit experience being capable of being described by a non-Dalit writer. Valmiki, in fact, in his autobiography that is included in your syllabus, Jutan, asserts that.
স্যার
Yes,
স্যার বলছি এখন আপনার কম্পিউটার স্ক্রিনটা কিন্তু ফোনে দেখতে পাচ্ছি না
is it?
অনেকক্ষণ থেকেই দেখতে পাচ্ছি না
স্যার অনেকক্ষণ থেকেই দেখতে পাচ্ছি না
Oh, you should.
বারবার বলছি কোথায় দেখা যাচ্ছে না
Just a minute, just a minute.
যুগল সাদিয়া তোরা স্পিকার গুলো অফ কর, সাউন্ড আসছে। নিরুপম স্পিকার অফ কর, পিঙ্কি স্পিকার অফ কর।
Is it visible now?
ইয়েস স্যার স্যার আগের স্লাইডটা একটু দেখান স্যার
লাস্টের কয়েকটা স্লাইড দেখতে পাই
হ্যাঁ লাস্টের কয়েকটা স্লাইড দেখতে পাই
Just a minute. From here on, probably.
ইয়েস স্যার
So literature by Dalits about the literature by non-Dalits about the Dalits. Then we see conflict and arguments. We were discussing this one. That here Om Prakash Valmiki tells that how will those who have never suffered the needle pricks of hatred and jealousy feel my pain? Who have never endured humiliation, how will they know what it feels like? Dreams like sand dunes do not make a sound when shattered. Again, he tells, when they don't know the reality of this Dalit life, whatever they write about it will remain superficial, born out of pity and sympathy, and not out of desire of repentance. And another renowned Hindu critic, Dr. Manager Pandit, he told that only ash knows the experience of burning. So, these people who were not Dalit by birth, it's not possible for them to create a perfect literature which can be called as Dalit literature. So this text, you know, it is included in your syllabus, and you have already read about this text about Om Prakash Valmiki, you know. So now I want to focus. I want to focus on Dalit Autobiography, and these were not shown previously, right? But we have only 5 minutes 39 seconds in our hand. We have to come. So autobiography is actually an account of a person's life written by himself or herself. Autobiography speaks not only about writers and incidents, but also about their experiences. So autobiography is a presentation of the wholeness of personal identity in only a particular work. So you know, Dalit people, Dalit literateurs, they try to create their own literature. They try to write their poems, their novels, autobiographical novels, their dramas, their songs. But the most important part is autobiography. Why? Because we see autobiography deals with the self of a person, and in this manner he actually writes his own experiences. So that is written here. But this Dalit autobiography is different from the mainstream autobiographies. Because mainstream autobiography, we see in mainstream autobiography mainly what is seen? The projection of the self. But in Dalit autobiography, we see the presentation of the community, the entire community. that unlike the mainstream writer's autobiography, Dalit autobiography is not confined strictly to the author's life or hardships faced by him and happy moments passed by the author. It is the reflection of traumas and wounded psyche of Dalits and Dalit community. It is about denial of opportunities, even to live as an ordinary. In their autobiographies, the Dalits writers never find themselves away from their community. They always identify themselves within their community. Hence, Dalit autobiography is not a story of an individual. It is a document of social, political, cultural, and economical conditions. So you should take screenshot of these slides. Are you taking? Just take screenshots, and
Yes,
this is important. This particular slide is important if you want to prepare your presentation from Jutan and Dalit consciousness. You have to arrange your paper in this method. How? That first of all, you have to show what is Dalit or who is a Dalit. You have to discuss about this thing, right? So whenever you will be discussing this thing, definitely you have to mention the Indian caste system and the origin of the Dalits. Then you have to show the condition of the Dalits in India from the beginning, right? Then you have to show, whenever you are showing the condition of the Dalits, that means their derogatory condition, their pains, their humiliations, definitely you have to show their resistance, their awakening and Dalit resistance. And whenever you will discuss these Dalit awakening and Dalit resistance, you have to mention two particular persons. One is Jyotirao Phule and the second one is Ambedkar. Then you have to come to Dalit movement and Dalit literature. And I have already discussed about that conflict, Dalit and non-Dalit conflict. That means the writings which are produced by the non-Dalit writers. And finally, you have to discuss your text, that is Jutan, and you have to discuss about Om Prakash Valmiki and his consciousness in the light of all these things which you have already mentioned in your paper. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
yes,
So,
sir.
Yes, sir.
this is all.
Yes, sir.
And we have only 1 minute 35 seconds in our hand. And if you have any question regarding your presentation, you may ask me. Do you have any question? I think no.
স্যার জুটান থেকে কি কি ইনফরমেশন গুলো দেব মানে বিশেষ করে
From Jutan,
ইয়েস স্যার
you have to show what? Just try to locate all these points. That conditions of the Dalits in India, you have to show the condition of the Om Prakash Valmiki. Condition of Om Prakash Valmiki whenever he started his journey as a boy, as a child, as a student, right? Then
ওকে
okay. Only 1 minute in hand. Just a minute. It will get disconnected.